Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have a bit of a cold. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop giving you the juice. In case you're wondering, I just wanted you to know. I had a fabulous Labor Day weekend. I hope you did too. Lots of family fun with my sons and Peter. We went to Pelican Hill, which is my favorite place to stay in Newport. Of course, we got a deal, so it wasn't like I paid like a regular person. You know, Peter got some, and I can't tell you what the deal is because every time I revealed amazing deals, then people start to do it, and then Drake blames me for ruining the deal for the future. I'm just saying, occasionally there's a deal there that involves golf. You have to figure it out yourself, or come to a live show and ask me after at the VIP, and I will tell you what it is. Oh, when is your next show, Heather? Well, let me just get through that real quick. Tempe Improv, you guys. Because of popular demand, we've allowed a few more VIPs to be able to be purchased. That is on Friday, September 13th and Saturday, the 14th. I only have one show a night, so I really get to spend time with the VIPs after. Make sure you get your tickets and have fun because it's a great show. All new material, lots of fun, different stuff that I'm doing in that show. So if you've come before, it will not be the same experience. It'll just be a better one. Then I'm off to Atlanta. That is September 27th and 28th for the Heather McDonald Experience. One show a night at the City Winery in Atlanta. And let me just tell you a crazy story about Atlanta, you guys, which is why I'm really excited to go there. A baby was just found. Yes, a baby. This woman was in Atlanta. Her bedroom was way far at the end of the house, but something woke her up. She believes it was God, and so do I. And she went to go get a sip of water, and sure enough, she went towards the front of the house where the kitchen was to get some water and heard a baby left on her doorstep, umbilical cord still attached. She called the ambulance. They came, they cut off the cord, they wrapped the baby up. The baby is fine in the hospital. And she said she believes God woke her up. Because why would she wake up at that exact time? And she would have heard the baby. The baby didn't wake her up because the baby was at the other end of the house. So I'm pretty excited to go to Atlanta, obviously. Not that I'm saying that you have a city with a lot of like babies dropping out of the sky, but that would be pretty amazing if I could find one. I only have the one kid that I saved at Disneyland, and that was only for like 6 or 7 minutes, and he was 5. So I'm looking for younger, and I'd like to keep the baby for a longer time. I mean, if it had the umbilical cord still attached, it's a little gross for me. I'd probably call the ambulance too. But if it's like a baby that's healthy and like put together, I'm hanging out for at least 2 hours before calling anyone, if it's healthy. Just want you guys to know that. Anyway, all my dates are at heathermcdonald.net. You guys get your VIP tickets, get them in advance. There's tickets now available in St. Louis, which is people have been asking for that. Nashville, Chicago, you guys. There supposedly is a Real Housewives of Chicago in the works, supposedly. No, it's true. And the auditions are going to be at my show. So you better come to my show, November 22nd and 23rd, live Juicy Scoop, 2 shows on Saturday. Because the first one sold out. So the second one is happening. Come, rip it with me. Come up with your Chicago tagline. I'm putting the cast together myself, and that will be very fun. So let's get into, so the rest of the weekend, what did I do? The rest of the weekend I was just having a great time. I had the best time of my life. I visited McKinsey, which I'm going to get into some of her story. That's my daughter. We went to give her a couch. And she has an apartment in Long Beach, which is near the beach. She's not like, you can't see the water, but there is an air conditioning. They're in central air in her apartment. So we went in, and it was just unusually hot, very hot. And I was like, God, I just can't believe it's this hot in Long Beach. And the windows all open. And I go, I think something's burning. She's like, I don't know. Oh my God, they had the heat on, like maximum heat on. I don't know. Then we had to make sure that their carbon dioxide warning was working. And I was like, this is scary. This is like, she's so smart in so many ways. But somehow they accidentally turned on the heat. If we hadn't showed up that day, they could have been dead. I don't know. It was like, the only scarier thing that she's ever said to me is when she was learning how to drive, and we left Ralph's, which was right by my house, and she goes, where now? And I said, let's go home. She just goes, okay, well, which way do I turn? And I was like, we have lived in this house for 10 years, and this is scaring the shit out of me. How do you not know your way home? I'm going to get into, I've got really good roommate stories coming up, but let's get into some juicy scoop first of what's going on. So, here I am in Pelican Hill. I just have a photo here. If you're watching me, you can watch me on YouTube, you guys. It's youtube.com/Heather McDonald. Every interview, and when I do things like this with photos, almost every episode, it's up there. So sometimes when I'm talking about things or you want to see who the guest is, you can enjoy it on the YouTube. So subscribe to that. Also, have you left me an iTunes review yet? You can do it. You can do it again, whatever. It's really important. It keeps me at the top of the charts, which keeps me going, and it's just a nice Christian thing to do. So we got to golf. I don't really golf. I just wear the outfit and like walk around, and I love driving the cart, and I have a cocktail, and I just watch them. Because moms of boys, there really isn't that much you can do with them as they get older. We can't get mani and pedis. Maybe you can, not my sons. They don't really like to shop. So this is what I do. And speaking of people raising boys, Britney Spears has just lost, she went from 50% custody with K-Fed to 30%. And I feel badly for her, but obviously it's probably something that was well thought out. It's not like she's some single mom that can't afford an attorney and her smart, doctor husband is screwing her over. I mean, clearly we know she's had some issues. And K-Fed, he doesn't really have a career besides being a really pretty active dad. He has 5 kids, if you remember from Juicy Scoop history. He had 2 with Char Jackson, 2 with Britney Spears, and now he's married to a woman, and I believe they have 1 child as well. So, but what is this about? This says Britney Spears' father investigated for alleged abuse of what?
K-Fed is suing that the father abused the oldest son.
Like physically?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this just came in from TMZ. So he got his 70% custody, K-Fed. And the next thing that they found out is that her father, Britney Spears' father, who was the conservator of her estate, manager, in which she claimed he was like dying, and that's why she stopped doing her Britney Spears show. But then we realized, she's kind of having a mental breakdown. Now she seems to be okay on Instagram, twirling around and talking very fast with her boyfriend. Hey guys, it's me, Britney Spears. A lot of people think that I don't look the same. Well, I do. I've just been working out a lot. I'm thinner than ever, and this is my boyfriend, and this is my closet. So she, we know, has issues. But apparently K-Fed believes the dad, the grandpa, got physically abusive. I don't think sexually, physically abused one of the boys. Now, the boys are getting older, and I believe they're like 12 and 14. Can you check their ages? Because I always know they're kind of around my boys' age. And I don't know what that is, but, it's hard. Once your kids get, like, larger than you, even if you never got physical with them before, just to go, like, get in your room, just move. And you're trying to, like, move or push a kid in their room, and they're not. Or, me having to beg my boys to take showers, and then they say I'm bullying them because I'm like, you smell, and they're like, you're bullying me. And I'm like, I'm not bullying you. You're going to be bullied when you go to school and smell. If someone looks inside your ear and sees some fucking gross shit because you didn't get a Q-tip in there, and I always say, don't get Q-tips, I'm sorry. I will take a Q-tip to the outside of my son's ear so that someone in algebra doesn't look over and fucking puke, okay? But
they're 13 and 12.
The boys are 13 and 12. So I just really hope everybody's okay. And those are tough years, and your parents aren't together. And maybe right now, who knows, maybe it is best that they spend the full week with their dad. That's the other thing. When it's 50-50 if you're like splitting the week, and you guys know, I know I have a lot of divorced parents that listen, it is really hard with, schoolwork and routine. And I know sometimes it's an ego blow or something to not have the exact 50-50, but it's really about the quality of time you spend. So sometimes I think parents need to sit down, if they can, and really go, okay, you know what? It would be better if you spent the entire week at your dad's, and we can FaceTime, we can call all the time. That's the other thing. When your kids have phones nowadays, you really can communicate as much as both of you want. And anyway, I hope Britney gets together, or I hope that she's okay with this arrangement, and I really hope that the grandpa, didn't do something that isn't being blown out of proportion. Because I can't even imagine, like, as the kids, that everyone knows this. Because obviously the kids go to school, people know who they are. I just found out that one of the Jolie Pitt kids goes to a high school nearby. So, not going to say who because he's a minor, but anyway, he has a Gucci backpack. Okay. Good for them, Jolie Pitts. I just really want to just see where Shiloh's going to go. That's all I really care about. I really don't care about the others, and it wasn't Shiloh. Okay, let's move on. Now, people are saying it's not completely for sure. We know Bethenny Frankel has left Real Housewives of New York, and there's talk, at least it was out.com or Out Magazine, there's talk that maybe they're talking to a gay man who I assume is married with a family to be the new Real Housewife of New York. And the subject came up on Juicy Scoop Obsessed, my Facebook group, and people were talking about, would they want it or not? I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings. I do think a shakeup could be kind of fun, but I think it could really change the dynamic of the show, which again might be interesting to watch. For one, I think that the women will all be kissing the gay guy's ass, wanting so much to be his friend. I also feel like as a woman, really, we're going to lose another job to a man. I'm sorry. This was the one show that you could count on women over 50 being cast in. And now they're going to be removed again by a man. I don't care about someone's sexuality. It's a man. So I don't know how I feel. Of course I'll watch no matter what, because I want to see these bitches all, fumbling over each other, trying. And oh my God, can you imagine Ramona saying the inappropriate things, thinking she's being like really pro-gay, but not? Oh, that would be really great. Like her meeting the guy for the first time. So I really think it's kind of great that you're gay. And you know what? I have a lot of gay friends. I'm actually kind of a gay icon. Sonia once called herself a gay icon, but it's really me. I actually met a really great drag queen in Atlanta that is a Ramona drag queen. Do you know him? No, I don't. Oh, I just thought because you're gay, I thought you might know drag queens as well. No, that's not really how it works. Then we see his confessional. Wow, Ramona's a lot. I'd heard about her. I love it when they all say, I've heard about this lady. Heard about it. You've been watching her for 13 years. Shut up. If any gay man they pick to be on Real Housewives of New York will have been watching Bravo just as long as I have, okay? Oh, that'll be so great. And then she'll be like, so, and then Sonia will be like, are you a top or are you a bottom? Have you ever tried? It will get, oh, now I might like it. And then Luann will be like, a lot of people thought I was a man at one time. Did you ever think about transitioning? No, I'm just a gay man. Like, oh my God, I just can't even imagine. Okay, now I changed my mind. Fuck women and their jobs. Let's bring on a gay man. I just need to watch the inappropriateness of what's going to go down on the Real Housewives of New York. So I don't know who you are, but bring some juice and hopefully you have like an interesting life. I'd like to see this. Okay. This is the way, oh my God, how great will it be? Great and sad. We get the gay husband. He's predominantly the caregiver of their two kids. His husband is a high-powered doctor that we really don't see. He's not in it. It's not his thing. It's Jeffrey's thing. David's the doctor. Jeffrey's the stay-at-home dad. And then the same shit happens to Jeffrey, the gay house husband, as it has with every other woman. You know, David starts to dislike it. Jeffrey starts doing posts for Teamy T. It goes against David's doctor life. He doesn't really believe in that product. It becomes a conflict. He's like, why can't I have my time? I've got to know Jeffrey. I've raised these kids. I need to know who Jeffrey is. This is an opportunity. I'm finally getting to know myself. Oh. And then all the glam squads of gay guys that work on the women, some shit goes down after taping, and he cheats with one of Sonia's hair guys. And now Sonia feels responsible for breaking up a family. Definitely, let's definitely hire a gay man. Oh my God, I'm so excited for the new season. Okay. This is Garcelle Beauvais. Is it Beauvais? I should know how to say her name. Beauvais. Garcelle. She's beautiful. She was actually in Spider-Man. I think it was the latest movie. She played Kevin Spacey's wife before Kevin Spacey got caught for being a perv. She was a regular on Hollywood Today Live, which it was she and Ross. And as you remember from my AJ Gibson interview, AJ was the original person on the show. He went to a football game at his college and suggested Ross replace him for 2 days so he could go to his homecoming. And then they replaced AJ with Ross. Then Garcelle was filming the Spider-Man movie, and they asked me, could I go for a couple days while Garcelle is filming this movie? And then they said to me, can you do next week too? And I go, oh, that's great. Garcelle's doing another week on the movie. They're like, no, Garcelle will be here. And then the other girl, they got rid of. And then they did me for like 5 weeks. But then they went with Allie Lauder. Lauder? Allie Lauder, the girl that did the Dorito chips and also was married to Mario Lopez for like a day. Anyway, here's the history. So Garcelle is the new Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I think she's a great choice. She's super gorgeous. She has twin boys that are just about Brandon's age. Maybe they're 12. They're 12 or 13. She was married before and has an older son that I think is in college or post-college. And then she married this CAA agent. And she's always worked. She's just one of those girls that has just continually worked. She's had a lot of talk show opportunities. In fact, here's another juicy scoop. Jerry O'Connell, if you've been watching, he had a 3-week stint for Wendy Williams' company. He did it on the Wendy Williams stage. He's hoping that show will go, and that would be under the Wendy Williams umbrella. Jerry O'Connell had a talk show, and right after Chelsea ended, I got a call saying they're looking for, it's going to be Jerry and 2 women, and they need one to be African-American or ethnic. I can't remember what they said. So I met Jerry, and we had lunch or dinner at the Peddler's Fork and just completely hit it off, Jerry O'Connell and I. It was just great. Had so much fun. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I've got this job. He could not have connected with anyone as well as he connected with me. So I go to the all-day testing thing. And who do I see get out of the car but my good friend, Jenny Poulos. And I said, Jenny, is there any way you could be considered the ethnic one because you're Greek? Otherwise, we're both fighting for the same spot. She's like, no, I think I'm down for the white girl. I'm like, oh, shit. So, anyway, we both got the boot that day. And then the testing went on. And all the people that went through it, that they went really far with, they got rid of all those people and then started a new slate of people. And then so they did a whole nother testing. And Garcelle got it. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Garcelle has twin boys. Jerry has twin girls, all around the same age. And so then everyone was looking, who's going to be the other girl, the white girl. And they were looking at the girl from, oh God, her name's escaping me. She's so funny. She's on Mad TV. She was on Mad TV. She's always on, oh my God, she's always on Blackish as the neighbor. She's hilarious. Anyway, in the end, they decided to go with Jerry's wife. And I'm like, oh my God, you went through all this process. You and Rebecca could have just started this from the beginning. I wouldn't have had to go to Peddler's Fork and Garcelle. So anyway, the show was going to go. It's going to be a syndicated show. And Garcelle was very excited to do it. She's really good in the talk space, which is why I think she'll be good on Housewives, because she's knowledgeable and tells personal stories and everything. And she was so excited. They got on a plane, I think she said, and then she landed and she told me, and between the flight, which was like 1 hour, the show was then scratched. And I really don't know why, and lots of times people just don't know why. There's some things, sometimes it's big corporate things, sometimes it's a syndicated money thing, sometimes it's a small personal thing. Like last week I told you, or a couple weeks ago I told you that Bethenny had a serious talk show, and then she threw a drink on one of the owners or big investors' wife's head at the Hamptons at a party, and then she lost her Sirius radio show. Sometimes you really don't know why these things don't work out. Anyway, I enjoyed my time working with Garcelle. Before, I'd always see her, and we'd always go to these kid movie premieres. When she'd get invited, she would take her boys. I would take my boys. So I'd always see her. She always looks stunning. I know that she knows many of the housewives just from being in the talk show space and working for so long. So when I posted about it, Lisa Rinna immediately wrote, great, because I said she's beautiful, she's funny, she's smart, she's a great mom. But she has some juicy scoop history, which I will share with you. Now, I think it'll come out in the show, but maybe it won't. But it's out there. I'm not sharing something that was told to me. You can look it up. But she had a very juicy story, a very sad, adulterous, juicy story. So she was married to her husband, her second husband, who was a CIA agent. They had the little boys. They were like 4 or 5 at the time. And she picked up his phone and saw a text that said, "I love you." And she investigated it and found out that he'd been having a 5-year affair with someone in another city that he'd have to fly to see. And she was so upset that she wrote a email to like 10 of their closest friends, couple friends, to be like, I was duped and you were duped too. Which I've had people do that when they have found out that their husband has been cheating on them. They're like, oh, you all think he's a delight? You invite us to dinner? You all think he's great? Well, let me tell you what a fucker he is. So she basically sent an email saying it's been proven, this has been going on, I've been being deceived for 5 years. And one of those people leaked it to the press and unto other people because it went viral at the CAA offices, the big talent agency. And she regrets doing that, according to this article that I read to remind me of the story. And still really rose above it, which I think will be an inspiring story for people to see. She rose above it. I believe they still have a nice relationship with each other, co-parenting. At least they always have been when I talked to her and we're working on the show. And at one point, the kids were having trouble sleeping, which can happen a lot when kids are around 5. And she actually invited the ex-husband to come and live with her. And what did she say? It was the nicest thing she's ever done?
Yeah.
It's the nicest thing she ever did. But she was doing, you do it for your kids. And so I'm going to be kind of interested to see if, in protecting her children, is this something that she's willing to reshare? She's shared it once. People like me remember it. I'm sharing it again as a juicy scoop history. But she really gained a lot of people's respect, too, in that, like, she didn't fucking take it lying down. And then when it really came to caring for her kids, she let it go and focused what would be best for her children, regardless of how much their father hurt her. So I think I think it's going to be good and juicy. I hope that she is open to share. She's already working on some other Netflix shows. So I think that's kind of fun to follow a working actress who's actually working. I like to see. Remember when Lisa Rinna, when Lisa Rinna was so busy, and she's like, "I've got 2 days on the middle, then I've got 2 days on days, then I've got another 2 days on the middle. I'm fucking going crazy here. Then I got to go sell the Dusters in Philly." So I think it'll be fun. But then there's another woman that they hired. Here's the babies. And her name is, what is her name?
Sutton?
Sutton Summers or something. It's like kind of a great name. And she is like a party planner, society, Beverly Hills lady, not an actress, blonde, which I think, so I think these are two really good additions. And I'm excited to watch Beverly Hills. But, so Bravo posted something that said, oh, Garcelle and Sutton are joining the cast. And in mentioning the cast, they didn't mention Erika Jayne. And so people started to freak out. They took down the post. So I don't know if the person made a mistake in writing it, if in fact she's not coming back, if she's playing some hardball negotiation, if maybe she wants to be a friend so that she can like dabble in and out. I know she's still doing her Shoe Dazzle line. I just saw a video for that. Of course, she's got a lot going on. She's got the makeup. She's got her shows. I think no matter what, Erika Jayne, yes? I don't care what. What? You're talking to me? Yeah. Well, Mr. Girardi thinks that maybe my time is gone. And I don't know. Mickey's coming up with some new dance steps. I don't know if I'm going to be a friend. I don't know if I'm going to hold a dime, and God knows I have enough to hold. Well, Erika, yes? I think that you should stay on the show, at least as a friend. Why the fuck not? If you don't need the money, why not? Why wouldn't everybody rather be a friend? You don't have to go on some awful trip where you have to fly 25 hours to be there for 2 days. You don't have to go to do anything you don't want to do. And then they all come to your concert, they all come to your Shoe Dazzle launch, and you just keep it going, and you hang out with Mickey in your closet, and it's just perfect. You don't even have to show Mr. Girardi and his styrofoam coffee cup. You don't even have to, because you're not a full-blown housewife. That's my advice, girl. All right, let's talk about some hot shows that everyone's been talking about. And one is Dave Chappelle's stand-up special on Netflix. Dave Chapelle is freaking hilarious. And 20 years ago when he started his show, The Chappelle Show on Comedy Central, it broke all kinds of barriers, joked about things that you just never thought anyone could joke about. I mean, he had a sketch where he was playing an old black man that was blind, and he was in the KKK. Because he didn't know he was black, and he was blind, and he was a racist. I mean, just very, unbelievable kind of point of view type of stuff. He had this huge deal at Comedy Central. He left. He gave up the money. Everyone thought he wasn't never going to appear or work again. He got married. He has a couple kids. Lives in this big farm in Ohio. But he has made a comeback in the last 5 years, and he's made a very lucrative deal with Netflix. So he had 2 specials last year. One I liked a lot. The other one was like a smaller setting, and he talked a lot about the Harvey Weinstein stuff, and people were very offended by what he said about that. This one, it's like, oh my God, the topics that he touches on. He talks about the Michael Jackson documentary. And, he says he doesn't believe the kids, which I don't agree with that. I believe the kids. But some of the jokes they said are just fucking, I can't believe he said it. And I say, he has every right to say it. I'm not going to repeat him here because I don't want you then getting mad. If you're not easily offended, if you want to see a unique point of view that might have even been your point of view, but you couldn't even say it to your spouse, and he's going to say it in the most comedic, hilarious way, I say watch it. But if you're easily triggered or, you know what I would tell my daughter, don't watch Dave Chapelle. You won't like it. You will be pissed. I understand, how certain people will feel. But some of the stuff, he goes through the whole Jussie Smollett thing, and it was so funny. And you guys know, if you've been listening to this, what happened when I heard about Jussie Smollett. To remind you, Jussie Smollett was the guy on Empire that faked the whole kidnapping thing. Not kidnapping, he said he was attacked, and that white men wearing masks with Magna hats on threw a noose around his neck and called him the N-word and the F-word and beat him up. And the morning that story came out, I was about to do Wendy Williams, and Wendy was on leave, so there was 4 of us sharing the table for the whole episode. And I remember when we were going to the briefing, I said, but how does he know that they're white if they're wearing masks? And everyone just said, don't you dare say that on stage. And because it looked like I wasn't believing Jussie Smollett. And I was just like, oh, no, I'm just asking the facts, because you can't say that he thinks they're white because he heard their voice, because that wouldn't be fair. That's a lot of African Americans have been arrested for things that are not right evidence. So anyway, not to get all into that. So anyway, I don't agree with everything Dave Chapelle says. So just don't get mad at me. But it was just a very interesting thing to watch, because there's things that I've stumbled upon or want to joke about, and I honestly don't, because I think, what if someone in the audience was affected by that, like they lost a child to it or something? And that keeps me from doing really edgy stuff, because I'm not comfortable enough with crossing the line like a Dave Chapelle. But I appreciate that he has the right to do that, and I feel like it's Netflix. You've got to click quite a few buttons before you choose him and watch it. So it's not like you stumbled upon it on the radio, or you stumbled upon it when you're flipping channels on ABC and were then offended. So I think it is a great thing that there are streaming services like this that you can choose to watch if you want to. And if you don't, then you don't. But when he got into the Michael Jackson stuff, one of the things he said was, he's like, well, you know, all this is joking. These kids did get a free trip to Hawaii. Like, they should have known that, no one gets a trip to Hawaii for free. And to me, I thought that was horrible but funny, only in the sense that, like, as a woman, he's kind of joking it, like, if I invite a girl to Hawaii, like, she's going to have to put out. I was invited to trips to Hawaii when I was a virgin, and I'm like, I'm not going because I'm not going to fuck you. So to me, I thought the ridiculousness of that is what makes it funny. He obviously doesn't really mean it. But I remembered growing up and seeing a bumper sticker out there that said, gas, grass, or ass, nobody rides for free. And, like, because people were, like, hitchhiking or wanting a ride, and people would put that on their card and be like, yeah, I'm not going to give you a ride unless you give me gas money, pot, or get ready to, like, get fucked. I mean, I can't. So it's a very different world that we live in, and I just found it really juicy and funny. So you guys decide. We can discuss on Patreon. The other thing I saw that everyone was talking about was The Amazing Jonathan. And The Amazing Jonathan was a guy, I remember the first time I ever saw him do stand-up, I'd gotten a free ticket to go to the Improv when I was at SC. They were passing him out on campus, and I went with a bunch of friends, and I thought he was hilarious, and he was like a comedian magician. And then the next Saturday I went again, and I saw him again, and he did the exact same thing, and that's when I realized, oh, people hone out their acts. It's not brand new material every time. Anyway, he does this documentary that's really interesting, because it's really about the documentarian's life, in that he approaches The Amazing Jonathan. The Amazing Jonathan says, I have a heart condition, I've gotten a year to live, and I do crystal meth. But I might want to do some shows again before I die. So why don't you come do a documentary about it? So the kid is really excited. He's like, guy like under 30. And then halfway through the movie, Jonathan's like, oh, by the way, there's another documentary crew coming. So now they're like competing with this other documentary crew. And it's just kind of something you've never seen before. And I thought that was like really juicy. And to this day, we don't even know if he's lied about his death or not. So I thought that was juicy. And I've reached out to the producer, the main documentarian, and this other woman I know that used to be his sidekick. So we'll see if that would be kind of a good interview. Anyway, the other one on Hulu is Untouchable, which is the inside story of the Harvey Weinstein scandal. And we watched it last night, Peter and I. And God, Harvey Weinstein is fucking ugly. I mean, he is so unattractive. It is just like an acne-scarred face. And I remember just being like, this is the ugliest person I've ever seen at every Oscars. And he always had his beautiful wife next to him, because I think he left his first wife before he started winning the Oscars. And he had the girl that made all the, what's her name? The fashion designer. Will you look up his ex-wife? Marquesa, yeah. She's like, looks like a model. And I was like, well, I guess if like, maybe he's just some really nice guy that just like obviously knows genius movies. In this movie, though, they didn't just touch upon the fact that he was like a monster and like raped women and attacked them, and, from anywhere from full-blown rape to forcing them, to give them a massage, to, this one girl said he like made her come into the bathroom, and then he took his hand like out her neck and was like, look at yourself in the mirror, and then he like started masturbating behind her. And but she had something gross happen before that and was able to escape with him. And then but then he said keep in touch. So she would, every 6 months she would write him or email or call and be like, oh, I got a part. So after like a year of the first incident, then she found herself being like, oh, I'll take a meeting with him again. He will meet me one more time for like 5 minutes. And the assistant like leaves her there, and then like within 5 minutes he's like jacking off to her. Like real quick. Like he fit in these sexual attacks and everything like in between meetings. I mean, it's just crazy. But he was also like an awful person in business too. He was really threatening to people, and you kind of even wonder like all these movies that won the Oscar, it kind of makes you question it, because he was really such a bully in so many ways. And then the marketing that went with all the movies and inviting all the people that voted to come to big fancy dinners. And like, what is the Oscars anyway? Like, what does it really mean? Does it really mean that it's the greatest movie? Who's deciding? And then when you realize like, it's just like politics or anything else. I mean, people are swayed because they're getting something out of it. And then they did touch upon that he would say these girls, like some of the victims said that he would mention actresses that had recently come out of nowhere and suddenly getting Oscar buzz and big parts, and that they, of course, slept with him too. Now, of course, it's just his word. It could have been his way of convincing, like, everybody's doing it. Why aren't you doing it? I'm still waiting for the woman that is successful and will admit that she did it. Maybe on her deathbed. That person will come out and go, yeah, guess what? In 2001, I slept with Harvey. I got the job, and I've had a great career ever since. And I'd do it all again because I knew that was the quickest path of success. That's my dream, is that someone will just admit it. Anyway, I never met Harvey Weinstein, and he never tried to fuck me. Okay, let's get into roommate horror stories. Okay, so Mackenzie, my daughter, was telling me that she really likes her new roommate, even though they almost died in their apartment because they turned on the heat. Thank God we shut up that day. But she has had some awful roommates. I'm going to say Mackenzie's had a few roommates. One didn't brush her teeth. One didn't wash her towels. Figure it out. Pretty gross. Pretty hard to live with. So I had a roommate, my first roommate at SC. She was 2 years older than I am, and she was 20, and she was 20 because she did 2 years in the Israeli army before coming over here. And she also played the cello, but she refused to play the cello in the music room down the hall. And the dorm was really like a jail cell. Like each bed on one side. I mean, it was very, very tight. And I'm a tall girl. She was a larger person. And then she had a very large cello with her. Anyway, turned out she thought I was just as much of an asshole because she left. She found some other cello friend and they left. And I had the whole room to myself. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. But then the dorm people kept calling and saying, there's someone to look at the dorm room. There's someone. And I was like, oh God. So at the time, I lived across from the parking structure. And in those years, everyone had a car alarm. And if there was ever a car, if there ever was an earthquake, the structure would shake a little and all the alarms would go off. It had happened like once since I was there. But if someone walked in and they weren't from California, I'd be like, oh, where are you from? Oh, Minnesota. Oh my God. You don't have earthquakes in Minnesota, do you? No. Well, if we even have like a tiniest one, like, you know, not even a big deal, all the car alarms start going off because the structure starts shaking so badly. It's so annoying. So nobody wanted to live with me. And then eventually my friend Stacy moved in, which was really great. So I had that great experience. So then I had another friend. Well, she wasn't a friend. I had to move into a place because my sister Shannon had finally found somebody that wanted to marry her. And I was very like, come on, girl. Like, we have a lot of fun together, but we're going to end up like the two old ladies, that Gertrude and, you know, Gladys, who lived together till they're 90. So I said, go live your life, get married. Let me just figure this out. So I start to search and I find this, oh my God, it was a great apartment, 2 bedrooms. Oh God, I think I had my own bathroom. I did. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, Santa Monica. And it was I don't know if it was rent control, but she had an amazing rent price for it. So I was like, this is incredible. I think I was paying like $650 for my own bedroom, own bath. Even though it was 20 years ago, that was amazing, okay? So I meet her, and I just really charmed her. And she was a pretty cute girl, and talked about how we both were like raised Catholic. She went to Notre Dame University. Oh my God, this is going to be great. She's like, you were like one of 30 people. And she chose me because she thought I'd be such a fucking fun delight. Well, right when I moved in, she's like sitting in my room the whole time while I'm moving. Like, so what are we going to do tonight? What's happening? What's going on? And I think I kind of sold her like the fact that we would be hanging out all the time. And then I was like, oh my God, you know how it is with roommates. It's like you kind of either know them really well or you got to set the line like, hey, we're never hanging out, ever. We're not going to watch a show together. We're not. So I went with the we're never hanging out. And in a nice way, but just really just giving the hints. And I just like would eat in my room. I would just, because she would sit in the living room all day long. What I didn't realize is that she didn't work. She went to 2 days of therapy for herself and then 2 days of couple therapy with her boyfriend that she's only had 5 months long. She had a trust fund. She didn't have to do anything. She was just like depressed. And then the boyfriend says, I'm going to graduate school like on the East Coast. And she says, well, so am I. And he was furious that she like was following him. And I was like, oh my God. By that time, I got engaged to Peter, and she moved out her stuff. I moved out mine, and there was like 2 items left that were hers. And she's like calling me from the East Coast. And she's like, you weren't supposed to leave those items. And I'm like, oh, just goodbye. Like, forget. I've never talked to her since. Never saw her ever again. Don't know her number. But I'll call her Christine, okay? Because whenever Peter and I are happy with ourselves, we're like, oh, you're so lucky, you're so lucky. And then I'm like, you could be, you know, and I'll just say, like, you could be whatever, doing nothing with your life or something if it wasn't for me. He's like, you'd be living with Christine still. And I'm like, I don't think I'd still, and like, he always comes up with that. I would be living with Christine. She'd be sitting on the couch. I'd still be eating my food in my bedroom. I'm like, I don't think that would still be happening 20 years later. I also had this other roommate that lived with Shannon and I, who we thought would be a real fun person. She was someone from our childhood. Anyway, we invited a guy from college. She fell in love with him. She got obsessed with him. He moved to Las Vegas. She helped him move. She decorated the place. And then she came home and he fucking ghosted her. And she lost her mind. She, like, became an alcoholic and dropped out of school. And then Shannon and I felt guilty because we're the ones that invited this asshole over to the party in the first place. All right. Now we have a couple fun ones that people wrote in that I thought were interesting. One girl said that she got this apartment with this girl, and the girl was an aspiring actress. And her mom would come from Bakersfield to West Hollywood and stay like a week at a time, help the girl like with her laundry, sleeping on the couch. And that's another thing a lot of people talk about roommates is when suddenly like someone gets a boyfriend and the dude's there all the fucking time. This is my advice to people that, first of all, my advice is find a studio if you can. I mean, really, honestly, after reading some of these roommate horror stories, that's why I liked living with my sister, because I was like, look, I know who your parents are. We don't have to be cheap about splitting every bill. I don't care if you eat my food. Like, it is so hard to share a place with somebody. And it's really kind of creepy that you're going into like a college dorm room and you don't know like this person from Adam, like a jail cell. And they do kind of match people up now, like with Facebook and stuff. But even then, you really don't know what you're getting. And some people can become best friends. My sister Shannon is still like great friends with her roommate that she was set up with. Oh, no, wait. That was a different roommate. Shannon, my sister's roommate, had a roommate that she at first adored. Then Shannon got a boyfriend, and the girl slept with Shannon's boyfriend. And after they had like slept together, Shannon walked into the room, and they were sitting on the dorm bed reading the Bible together, acting like they were like super Christians. Isn't that awful?